And there we go. We are on air. So how's everybody doing? Back again. Good morning, evening, night, or afternoon, whatever it is for you. So last call, we discussed how vital meditation is to grounding yourself, centering yourself, and to achieving basically anything you want to achieve. We believe that it's a vital part. And so today we want to share some resources or some ideas and tips of how we've experienced it and how we've come to where we are today. So yeah, I'll just jump right in. I did take some notes, or I just wrote down some things just so that I could keep it straight and I didn't miss anything. So for myself, over the last couple of years, well, 2 years, just about 2.5 years actually now, because it was 2015, the end of 2015. So wow, look at the time fly. So anyway, I was connected with Dani Morill, who is, she serves the Six Figure Mentors community, and she does live meditations for the community. I mean, she does live meditations for like her audience, but I get it for free through the community, and I get to connect live, and it's been very powerful, and it's been life altering for me, especially being able to do a guided meditation live. It makes a difference for me, a big difference. So nowadays, if I can't make her live calls, I follow her podcast, and so often those calls are done, and I will go in and just listen to the meditation, the guided meditation or the visualization. So if you're just starting meditation, I personally recommend you just finding someone. I mean, there's tons of different teachers out there that offer guidance online, and I will put into the description of the video the Dani's podcast, so you can go and check it out. And she also shares a lot of wisdom, and like it is a podcast, not just a visualization and meditation. But every call has the meditation in it. So yeah. So, Kat, do you have anything to say? I just was going to share.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Brittany. That was really lovely what you just said. Yeah, lovely. Anyway, so I started meditating way back about 5 years ago now. I don't know. I don't even want to count. But I started with Mind Valley, in fact. Vishen Likyani does a 6-phase meditation, and he takes you through, you do the, 2 minutes on gratitude. So he walks you through several steps, like, make you think of something you were grateful for this morning, and he will say like a hot cup of coffee or a hot shower or whatever it is. And then you'll go into, I forget the second one, gratefulness. No, we just had gratitude. Then you forgive someone. Well, that's number 4. Goodness me, sorry, my notes are not in this room, and I'm not running around. Anyway, you do these 4 things. So he really does walk you through it. So you don't really have time to think, unless, you're thinking about these things that he's asking you to do. And I found it very useful because, to sit down, and it's 20 minutes odd. So you really just sit down, you take in 20 minutes, and it gets you into that routine of just 20 minutes. And I was very, I'm someone very faithful, I like to just stick to, if something works for me, I just like to stick with it like glue, I don't want to move. Why should I? And so I was doing this, and then I knew Dani. I met Dani at the first Black retreat. So Dani, and I met her at the Platinum as well. So I met Dani Morill live, and she did meditation at these events, and it was like, wow. I was very intrigued, but at the same time, I didn't really want to move. But it was after the Black retreat, I thought, oh, well, I'll just listen to one of her podcasts, one of these live webinars that Brittany's going on about. And it's true that because there was a group meditation, that the energy of the group was just, it does something else. It really does does something completely different to the energy, and you just, wow. So I was really, really taken up there. And she uses this music done by her own mentor. And it's energy infused. Anyway, this was just like a completely new experience for me, and it was really, really lovely to be able to sit there and listen to just the music and not have someone talking all the way through. As you can imagine, after 3 or 4 years of listening to the same guy, you know, day in, day out, day in, day out, you sort of know it by heart, you know, you're like, oh yeah, right, I know what to do. Although I did try and do, he does go into a bit more detail when you get more experience, but, you know, so you're always improving and evolving. But I did find it a bit, well, I needed that meditation, so, you know, I was happy with it. And one thing I found good to start with the guided meditation per se the whole way through is that sometimes, you know, you miss the alarm clock or you really rush for time. Well, you know that it's best to sit down and do it for 2 minutes rather than just say, oh, I won't do it because I can't do 20 minutes. You know, it's best to always do it a little bit every day, because, you know, then that gets you into the habit. So even if you can't do the full 20 minutes, it's best to just sit down and, you know, whatever. And Dani always used to say, well, she does always say, you know, set a place in your house for just your meditation. And I didn't really understand why. And I was reading the book by Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu on the joy, the happiness or something it's called. And the Dalai Lama actually says, you know, if you set a space for your daily practice of meditation, your body, the minute it comes into that space, it'll know what it's supposed to do. You know, it's like when you get in the shower. Well, you know, you're going to get water and, you know, soap, whatever it is. So, you know, you've got to, that's kind of, I thought that sort of went, yes, it was a light, you know, ding, ding, light bulb moment for me. And I do try and do that so that when you do only have like the 2 minutes or the 5 minutes, you know, your body can just, it knows exactly what it's got to do. You're just sitting there, you're not, you know, trying to find your space, or am I sitting comfortably or not? You know, you've got a limited amount of time today. So I'll just sit here and, you know, meditate as it is. So that's one thing I found very, very helpful once I got the aha moment for me that I could understand what it meant, you know. So that's I always like to, you know, delve and look. So we are going to put like a little list of with links. They're not affiliate links, so we're just, you know, doing this because we feel that they're brilliant, and it is something that you know, don't feel, I mean, we're in the 21st century. You can, you know, Google it or YouTube it or whatever you want to call it, but, you know, find something that resonates with you. But we're just giving you guidelines to start, because you've got to start. There's no, in my mind, no doubt about that at all. And I was writing an article today. Sorry, I keep ranting. I was writing an article today about just that, because it's one of my modules on my course that I'm building, and I was just had to write about it. And so I've lost the thread of what I was going to say now.
Just starting.
Yeah, I know. I can see what I was saying, and it's just gone.
Oh God, that happens to me too. And you're like, oh my.
Yeah. Well, sorry, it's just gone. But anyway, so there, you know, don't hesitate to keep looking, whatever.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I think that's actually a really important point, and that was something that I felt I wanted to talk about as well, because, you know, a lot of the time when you hear these different resources or you hear these different ideas or what other people are doing, and you try them and you just don't feel it, something is just off, or it's difficult for you, then we can often use that as an excuse to not carry on the practice. So I also wanted to share that when I first started meditating, it was difficult. Like, it was hard for me to stay focused. I think that like a guided meditation all the way through, like Kat was talking about, would have really helped me. However, I did stick to it because I did have a couple experiences that showed me how much I needed it. And so I did stick to it. I pushed through those times when I really felt that day's meditation was a complete failure, you know, where you just can't focus and your mind is all over the place and you feel like you just sat in one spot in your house for 30 minutes and really didn't do anything. Those days are going to happen, and that's how you get better at it. So that was something that I had, a hurdle that I had to get over. So sharing that with you, so that when you do hit those hurdles or you do experience that, you know that it's normal, and that the key is just to carry on. For myself, when it started to get easier for me, I started using meditation like 5 minutes at a time throughout the day. If I was faced with any kind of situation where I was really frustrated, or I was kind of battling a really strong emotion for whatever it might be. I mean, we all have these things in our lives that trigger us. And when I felt triggered, I would would, whether it be in my truck or anywhere, I just sit with my eyes closed quietly, and I would just use a phrase that was relevant to my situation. Like if I was frustrated, then I would remind myself that I am calm and I am focused. And it really, really helped me, even if it was only for 5 minutes. I also use meditation a lot for preparation in things that I need to be focused for, or on top of my game for, or be the best I can be for. And also with that, even if I meditated in the morning, I will sit down and just close my eyes and just remind myself how powerful I am and how empowered I can be, how empowered I can be for other people, and or to other people. I'm not sure, but anyway. And it really, really helps me. And it's just a couple minutes, and you just take it away yourself, whatever you're feeling and whatever you want to be feeling or you want to be in control of. You just sit quietly and use the same phrase and focus. And just that focusing, just focusing your mind, it helps tremendously. So yeah, I also wanted to mention what Kat had said is meditating in the same spot. It does help. It really helps because I was kind of meditating wherever I felt the need. At first I was doing it in the office, and then it was recommended that I didn't do it in my office where I worked, but I didn't really have anywhere else to do it. So I'd kind of do it in the living room if my son was napping, or I'd do it in my room if I didn't have my son, or, I'd kind of do it wherever was convenient for me. But I took too much time trying to get comfortable or trying to find a position, or, just it took away from my focus or my immediate focus. So I did set up a place in my office, even though it was recommended that I don't meditate in my office, is because that room is the only room that I have that is quiet. That's my room that doesn't have a lot of other activity in it. So, and it helped, again, tremendously, just sitting in the same spot. I also purchased a meditation pillow, which is not necessary for everybody. That's another thing you don't need to feel is necessary. I just did it because my legs would go to sleep or my back would get sore. And so this was just another step I took to encourage myself to carry on with the practice and to get better at it. So those are just a couple of things that I've done that have really helped, that have been recommended to me through Dani, that have really helped. And Kat, I'm really glad that you mentioned Dani a little bit more, because I've also met Dani in person, and being able to have a group meditation or a live meditation online after being in that person's presence is I don't even know the word for it. I don't even know if there is a word for it. Like it's amazing. And another thing that Dani recommends is before meditating, if you do it in the morning, which I highly recommend, you get the benefits from it throughout the day. If you're only doing it once a day, if you can make it happen in the morning, then make it happen in the morning. For me, it's really helped, is freshen up. So, like splash some cold water on your face, shower if you have the time or whatever, but just freshen up if you've just woken up before you meditate, if you can. And for myself, it worked the exact same way as sitting in the same spot. When I freshen up and I like kind of wake up a little bit more with some cold water, it works also kind of like a cleanse of energy from the energy that you have the night prior. And it helped me get focused quicker, and there's no doubt about that. And for the longest time after Dani and I talked about it, I didn't do it, and so I started to do it anyway, and I was like, oh man. So now if I just get up and I wobble out to my office and I sit down and I go to meditate, it takes it takes longer for me to focus. So yeah, those are some tips that I highly recommend. I mean, there's thousands out there, like Kat was saying. Find something that resonates with you, stick to it, and just start. Even if you can't do 20 minutes, start with 10 minutes. And but if you are doing guided, then definitely stick to it. And even if your mind does wander or you get an antsy or whatever, just stick to it, because one other thing that is very true that I didn't know about meditation prior to actually starting the practice through Dani is that it's also a very powerful way to practice self-discipline. And, you know, a lot of people will like to lay down when they meditate. Now, I think that if you've been meditating for a while, you can, but if you're new at it, I wouldn't recommend laying down to meditate because it's not about resting per se, it's about focusing your mind. And I know that for myself, I have fallen asleep. And it's not saying that anything is good or bad, but if you want to start this as a practice to be focused and be productive and use it as a tool, then I do recommend practicing self-discipline with your routine, or using that and not laying down or falling asleep, but follow the guide and do your best to focus, bring your mind back when it wanders, and so on. And
yeah, I have a question for you, Brittany, and I'd like to get back to this sleeping thing afterwards. You talk about focus a lot. What exactly do you mean by focus?
So do you mean focus during meditation or the focus that I achieve after meditating?
You talk about focus during meditation.
So focus during meditation would be on visualization. So because Dani does the visualization, focus would be following that guide and visualizing what she's saying.
Okay, so you visualize that all the time throughout the meditation?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's basically until just the end of my meditation. But well, and you know what, I shouldn't say yes every time, because it's not yes every time. I can let go of the visualization quicker sometimes than I can on other times. But I do utilize it to keep my thoughts under control.
Okay. Of course.
So yeah, for definitely at the beginning, I would visualize all the way through. What Dani was
Yes,
the
same.
visualization that she shared that day. But I can say that the more I've meditated, like now, I can do the visualization and maybe do it half a dozen times, and then I can release it and not have my thoughts completely swarm in and fill my mind. But that did take time, and the visualization for me helped. So yeah, when I speak of focus, that's what it would be about, is just focusing in on directing your thoughts, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, coming back to the point about lying down, and it is true that, I don't understand. Dani does talk about an active meditation, and that is actively clearing your thoughts and not having any thoughts. So that is an active process. You can't really do that lying down. So yeah, I don't really understand. I've never heard of that, but anyway, I don't understand people who lie down, but so be it. But I must admit that during a period of my life, I started meditating, and it got to be very very looked down upon by my husband, shall we say, call a cat. And although normally he would get up really early to go and work and what have you, because he decided it wasn't going to happen, he wouldn't get up until the minute the school run would start. And so this put a lot of pressure on me. How do I do my meditation? And because things were not very good at all at home, I just felt terrified to move out of the bed. So what I used to do, and I don't know, anyway, I would just set the alarm or wake up, I think, myself, like half an hour before the alarm would go off, and just quietly put my my things on very low and not move, and just lie there in bed and listen to the meditation. And so that was the only time for me that I used this lying down business. But it was just because the habit, I had to keep meditating, because for me it really did save my life. But it was a life saving. So perhaps if you're in that sort of delicate situation, you can just set your alarm clock 20 minutes earlier and just quickly pop your earphones on it and meditate. start in bed, that's obviously brilliant, that you're starting, but you'll soon find out that if you're not in a delicate position and you can get out of bed, then it is so much more fun to do it somewhere else than lying down in bed, because you invariably end up sleeping, obviously, because you're so relaxed. You're not doing anything active, so you just go you just conk out. So I just wanted to say that, but apparently people say they meditate in the shower and stuff, and I find that very hard to believe personally, but whatever. But I highly recommend. You don't have to sit down on the floor per se. You can sit on a chair also, because some elder people might need to sit on a chair. I've personally always done yoga, so I'm quite happy sitting on the floor, and I would sleep on a futon until very recently and just roll out of bed, literally. So there are many ways of meditating, but we highly recommend you start. That's all we have to do, is just start. So there will be a list in the speaking section, or whatever you call it, of the YouTube video, where you can get all this. We'll put it on our page. I just have made so many videos telling people to go and see Dani, listen to Dani. I meet people, I give her podcasts, I say, oh, listen to this. I mean, people here in France, I say, she talks in English, it doesn't matter, you just listen to the music at the end. So, because it's, if you can, I was giving it to the cashier yesterday at the checkout, for goodness sakes, the supermarket. We got chatting and there was hardly anybody there, so she said, oh yes, listen to this is very good. So I'm always giving it, because I think it's just, if the planet could meditate, we would all be in such a better state, ourselves and our fellow human beings. So I think I really recommend meditating.
Yes, absolutely. I've messed up so that doesn't switch back and forth, and now I'm echoing it. But I was muting myself because I was having a little bit of a coughing fit.
Yes, we saw.
So I thought, well, I'll mute myself so I don't knock Kat off the path of focus as well. But yes, anyway, 100% in agreement with the whole laying down thing. I definitely can't do it. I don't get the same effect. But like you said, right, like each their own. Just understand the difference between relaxing and falling asleep to mindfulness and really being focused and present. There's a difference for sure. So yeah, I think that was everything I wanted to cover.
Yep, me too. We're all done here, so we'll have a list in the talk section of the YouTube. I can't find my words today, I'm sorry.
In the description?
That's the one!
Yeah, we will definitely edit that and make sure that it's all up to date with the resources that we've shared here, links and tips, and happy meditating. Bye for now.
Bye.